Silence can be one of the most powerful, overlooked tools you have, and at the same time, one of the most misunderstood. We live in a world that's constantly loud. Notifications, conversations, opinions, expectations, it never really stops. There's always something asking for your attention, your response, your energy. So naturally, silence can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable at first. But silence? Silence is where clarity lives. When you allow yourself to step into silence, real silence, not just the absence of noise, but the absence of distraction, you start to hear things you've been drowning out. Your own thoughts, your intuition, the truth about how you actually feel. And that's why silence can feel so intense, because it's honest. Silence doesn't perform. It doesn't filter. It doesn't try to make things look better than they are. It simply reveals. In silence, you start to notice what's been weighing on you. You recognize patterns. You realize what aligns with you and what doesn't. It's where self-awareness grows. That's why silence can be your best friend. It gives you space to reset, space to think before reacting, space to process instead of suppress. Instead of constantly responding to life, you get to actually understand it. And there's strength in that. There's strength in being the person who doesn't feel the need to fill every quiet moment, who doesn't rush to speak just to avoid discomfort, who can sit, observe, and choose their words intentionally. Because not every moment requires a reaction. Not every opinion needs to be voiced immediately. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is pause, take a breath, and choose stillness. But here's where balance matters, because silence, while powerful, can also become a hiding place if you're not careful. There's a difference between intentional silence and avoidance. Intentional silence is grounded. It's a choice. You step back to reflect, to understand, to center yourself before you speak or act. Avoidance, on the other hand, is silence rooted in fear. It's when you don't speak up because you're afraid of conflict. It's when you hold back your truth because you don't want to be judged. It's when you stay quiet to keep others comfortable, even when it costs you your voice. And over time, that kind of silence doesn't protect you. It diminishes you. Because every time you choose not to speak when it matters, you send yourself a message. My voice isn't important. And that's not true. Silence should be a place you visit, not a place you disappear into. There's nothing wrong with pausing. There's nothing wrong with taking your time, choosing your words carefully, or even deciding that something doesn't deserve your energy. But don't let a silent moment turn into a permanent habit of staying quiet. Your voice has a purpose. Your thoughts, your boundaries, your feelings, they deserve to be expressed. Growth happens in both spaces. The quiet moments where you reflect and the courageous moments where you speak. You need both. Think about it like this. Silence is where you gather your power, and expression is where you use it. If you only stay in silence, your power stays unused. If you only speak without reflection, your power lacks direction. But when you learn to move between the two, that's where real confidence is built. You become someone who doesn't speak just to be heard, but speaks because what you're saying actually matters. So how do you find that balance? Start by becoming aware of why you're being silent. Ask yourself, am I choosing silence right now? or am I avoiding something? If it's a choice, if you're taking a moment to think, to process, to stay grounded, then honor that. That's healthy. That's powerful. But if your silence is coming from fear, from self-doubt, from not wanting to upset someone, that's your sign. That's your moment to gently challenge yourself to speak, even if your voice shakes, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not perfect. Because your voice doesn't have to be loud to be valid. It just has to be real. And the more you practice that, the more you allow yourself to move from silence into expression, the easier it becomes. You start trusting yourself more. You start respecting your own boundaries. You start realizing that speaking up doesn't push the right people away. It actually strengthens the right connections. And the people who only accepted your silence, they were never aligned with your truth in the first place. So let silence be your best friend, but not your only companion. Visit it when you need clarity. Rest in it when you need peace. Use it to understand yourself on a deeper level. But don't live there. Come back. Speak. Express. Be seen. Because you were never meant to stay quiet forever. You were meant to find your voice and use it with intention.